You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
That's right, folks. Your restart nightmares are over because this is where the fun begins. This Galactic Challenge is actually very doable for a team of Bad Batch at mid to low relics. I don't know how low it can scale. I tested with an R5 team, but I would not be surprised at all if lower relics can finish. If you have lower than R5 and you beat it, let me know what you had in the comments. The reason for this is because this event is a puzzle, where brute force will not solve your problems. Instead, it's all about careful setup, patient preparation, and quick, violent execution. Once I came up with this type of game plan, I was able to get 10 wins out of 13 attempts, meaning I think this event is pretty low RNG overall once you know how to solve it. And if you've got the Bad Batch, and you're willing to give it a shot, I'll bet you can come out on top. The reason why this event has been so frustrating for people is that playing Bad Batch the usual way actually ruins your chance of winning. So with that in mind, let's break down how to solve this puzzle. The general idea of this event is that you have a 10-turn window to kill a full Talon Triumvirate team. If you fail to do this, both sides will revive all missing characters at 50% health and no protection. Every time your team gains a buff, you gain a large amount of offense and crit damage, but every time you kill one of them, the survivors get hugely stacking health and 50% turn meter, which means that 10-turn window will close very quickly. So the ideal successful run here will involve controlling enemy turn meter, building our buffs quickly to buff our damage, keeping kills on the enemy team down to a minimum until it's go time, setting 3 to 4 enemies up for an AoE kill, and then going for a quick, decisive finish using single target damage before the rest of the team can revive. Wrecker came with a few surprises for me as I started making this guide, as I realized that his defense up is causing a lot of issues for getting the kill on this event. The AoE true damage makes this event much harder. If our goal is to kill the enemies when we want and time everything carefully, dealing AoE true damage every single time we took a turn was making things much harder to set up. Don't get me wrong, I've beaten this event a ton while using it, but I think the easiest way to get the win is going to be by ignoring it. That doesn't mean Wrecker isn't bad though, he's still valuable for the team, getting huge bursts of turn meter to the team to keep things moving. To be honest, I did the majority of my testing here with Cody, and if you understand how to beat the events, Cody is actually pretty fun. But as I started testing Rex, I also started testing skipping the true damage, which is largely why a lot of people were picking Cody. The last note for Rex as well is because his nuke scales with percent health, he can drill through Traya, who tends to get a very big shield, without any major issues. If you choose to run Cody instead, just be aware that the AoE true damage can kind of work to try to get the AoE kill instead of Tech Grenade, but I found this to be way less consistent, way harder to line up, and I really would recommend sticking to Tech Grenade. So just to recap, we AoE daze them, we get them all down to around the 50% health range, and then ideally we kind of buy some time, we stack up AoE exposes, and we look for the opportunity at a high stack count, or it doesn't have to be, but the more stacks you have, the easier it is to do. You go for the Tech Grenade, and then suddenly you switch to Hunter Basic, Echo Calling Hunter to assist, Rex Nuke. You really use those good single target damage abilities to make sure to finish the last 1 to 2 people off. As you might have noticed, I'm kind of talking about this event in 2 kind of different phases, and that's because that's pretty much how I treat it. The thing about this event is, between Echo's first special increasing enemy cooldowns, the fact that we have the AoE daze, and Hunter Lead giving us 50% turn meter removal on exposes, you actually have a lot of breathing room if you know how to keep things safe. So if you miss your first window to go for the kill, you can actually stay alive for a pretty ridiculous amount of time. Just keep focusing on setting up your team to get back into the conditions you know you need to get to win, and try again. The weird thing is, usually I've found that when you miss a first attempt, if it fails, it's because they all revive with 50% health and no extra benefits or anything. You can actually line up multiple attempts back to back But at the same time, if your team starts to slip or get into trouble, I have also found that this event snowballs very heavily as well, and so usually means that you're going to be restarting. Once you learn to get more comfortable here, you really get into the flow of controlling Scion, controlling Traya, and keep on focusing on removing Terminator, right? As long as no clones are dying or losing their buffs, you're really in okay shape. The way I like to do this is, I cooldown increase Scion initially. Obviously, Scion's AoE Dispel is the big threat. But then at that point, I start to focus on killing Scion. If I need to kill anyone, it's going to usually be Scion. And then cooldown increasing Traya. Isolate is, I'm not going to tell you that it's an instant loss, but it's usually pretty bad unless you can make a move quickly. I have a couple of examples that I'll post in this video with timestamps that show you how I was able to win despite having Isolate. It's still, if you can't kill her or get the win very quickly, it's usually going to mean a restart. There will be RNG in this event based on what exposes do or do not land. So unless you just want to restart to get the normal RNG like you'll see where all of the Terminator removal happens when it's supposed to happen, there's some degree of learning to roll with the punches that will have to happen here. Lastly, I do recommend remodding for this event. I have a public Hotutils loadout ready to go for if you want to quick and easy swap back and forth. You can win without the remod. I did all of my initial testing and got my first win without remodding, but I did a lot of testing with the mod swap as well, and it is by far much more painless, much more consistent. You're just executing a strategy rather than going fishing hoping for the right opportunity to spring up. There are a few big important speeds to hit. The big one is going to be to try to make sure that everyone can get tenacity up before Palpatine goes. One small little difference that I also like to do is making sure that Rex went after Wrecker. It just gets you a little bit of extra turn meter. I'm not going to say, go crazy and make Rex slower than everyone else. I do kind of like having Hunter built for damage. And yeah, this turn order really just lined up perfectly. So if it ain't broke, I'm not going to break it. So what you see here is what I would generally recommend. I would honestly say if you just want to make sure that it's going to play the same as what I'm showing you, just try to copy the speeds. For Echo, his speed isn't really anything specific. Mine was already 380 for the competitive PvP meta. I would just say just give him the best you can. In terms of combat stat changes, the biggest one you could definitely make that you probably don't have on already is Tech. Because his grenade is our big moment to go for the win, the more damage modding we have on him for this move, the better the chance that we get the big clean sweep and get our red box. Hunter is also good to make sure that he's on damage modding. Chances are you probably already had him on. If you want to swap him from like a speed set to a offensive crit damage set, you can do that. I wouldn't really go crazy on it. If anything, the way that we use Hunter AoE, speed set's actually probably a little bit better. If you want to run Cody instead of Rex, Cody's modding actually isn't too important. I had him on like 12 speed secondary average when I first got my win. But I will say, with a lot of good Cody runs, I found that there would always be this moment where you get 2 Cody turns back to back for 2 quick mass assists. That can really take what looks like not that good of a moment to go for the kill into you just suddenly win. It just flip a switch. So if you feel like making your Cody turbo, that's certainly an option. Lastly, let's walk through an opener real quick. This is kind of an example of the turner I love to use to make sure that batch all get to triple translation very quickly and just get us in a very nice spot to win. Now, depending on the RNG, there will be some runs where you don't get the same, expose for turn meter removal. Maybe enemies go in a different order. But generally speaking, even if that happens, this order will make sure that you are in the best possible situation to go for the kill, even if it's not immediately. If things do play the same way as what you're seeing in the video, it's pretty much a guaranteed win. Anyway, we open up with the usual Echo and Tech using both of their AoEs. As I mentioned before, we do not want Wrecker to give the team AoE defense up for the true damage. So Wrecker, we just use Flex, and then Rex feeds everyone 60% turn meter. With Hunter, I swap back to Tech and feed a stack of translation to Rex, providing an extra stack to the whole team in the process. With this setup, we can have Echo call Tech to assist, putting them both at 3 translation and giving their cooldowns immediate benefit, as well as cooldown increasing Scion. Hunter AoE is perfect here. We just made the AoE exposes, so the AoE will trip all the exposes, give our team offense up, and make a ton of buffs for the purpose of stacking up Tech's damage. Rex can here just basic Scion or Traya. It doesn't particularly matter too much here. Just look for the opportunity to lower someone's turn meter that seems like they might not have been reduced. Record Basic is mostly just skipping the turn. It does apply speed down, so again, if we want to apply it to Scion or Treya, just to stop them from getting to their turns, perfect. And because of this opener, you'll see we already have Echo AoE back up. The enemy team has a nice amount of buffs for us to dispel and turn into benefits for us. And we are also getting their team very close to half health. But we're not done just yet. A tech basic. Usually here we did it on Treya. I will sometimes do it on Scion. It just depends on if you want to go for the kill here or, just keep on treading water. A basic will keep on cycling your cooldowns and also try to make sure that we don't kill anyone unless you're killing Scion. Another Hunter AoE here means we trip the exposes. Everyone is getting very low. It's more buffs, it's more offense up, it's more damage for tech. And Rex, we can just kind of skip a turn here to just remove some turn meter. Nothing really too important. And this is the moment where, at least in this video, we get the kill opportunity. We have done lots of AoE damage, gotten everything set up very, very nicely. And we go for the tech grenade for the kill, and we mop up with our single target true damage. Or Hunter Basic, whichever. Now, again, there are a few different ways that this can play. Exposes might not land, so turn meter might not get removed. If Scion does an AoE Dispel, I would generally just restart. I have been able to recover before, but it's a hassle. Just restart. And yeah, that kind of just about covers everything. Past this point, it's really just about getting comfortable with the puzzle, learning to kind of tread water and feel safe while doing that, removing turn meter, increasing cooldowns, keeping Scion and Treya under control. And you can, once you get comfortable, you can actually get the kill shot in really crazy moments. Again, check the timestamp links. There are examples I've even gotten the kill in like 2 turns, like 2 stacks worth. It can really come from nowhere, which is kind of why I think this is so fun. Almost no run plays the exact same. It's very, very satisfying. Anyway, good luck out there and happy hunting.